What is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another live stream. This is week number 91 of the Camera Junkie live stream, and as always, I thank you so much for taking your most precious commodity, your time, and spending it here with me on the Camera Junkie live stream. And with that being said, let me say what's up to the Camera Junkie crew right up off the bat. Let's see who's here in chat. All right, we have Architectural Sheet Metal 101 saying late night stream is cool. What is the agenda? Tonight's agenda is People of Video Conference 2022 coming up in just about 3 weeks. I will be taking part of it, but we're going to get into that in just a little bit. We also have Gretchen saying hello. What's up to myself, Mr. Camera Junkie. The master moderator, Mr. Moderator, the Paul Duncan, saying what's up to the fam. John is in here as well, saying hello to everyone. All right, and everyone's saying hello back. Looks like this is love the intro music. Yeah, I love my music, and if you're wondering, all of my music comes from Epidemic Sound. There should be a link in the description as well to my, I believe it's a 9-hour playlist. I think that's where it's at right now. Let me go ahead and check it. One of the coolest features about Epidemic Sound is that they have recently come out with a phone application. So now I get to hear all of the music that I could potentially use for my live streams and for my content on my phone, just like I would any other application, be it Apple Music, Spotify, you name it, and it's working there, and it allows me to control the music, pause it, and have it on the go. And the really cool part about it is that Epidemic Sound gives you a lot of recommendations based on the songs that you've already either favored or that you've downloaded through your account so that you can utilize. So they're constantly giving you recommendations for new songs, and when you hear something that you like, it's very easy for you to just add that to the playlist. And I've seemed to lost my mouse. Okay, let me go ahead and check over here. Yes, 9 hours, 45 minutes, and 16 seconds with 205 tracks, all that you'll be hearing here. But one of the features that I want to mention as well is that I've had this playlist for a while, and I've been building on it. You know, every time that I hear something that I like, I add to it. But because it gets added in the order that I've put them into that playlist, you kind of tend to know which song is coming up next because of the simple fact that you've heard them so many times in that routine, in that order, that you kind of get used to that playlist. I mentioned this because of the simple fact that now, even without the application on the phone, directly from the website, Epidemic is giving you the ability to actually loop and shuffle the music. So now I have 9 hours and 45 minutes of like amazing music that I vetted myself, and that it just goes randomly so that it just tricks the mind to be kind of more like a radio station where you don't know which song is coming up next, but because it's my playlist, I know it should be a banger. So Epidemic Sound for the win. And if you haven't done so, you know, check them out. I do have an affiliate link where it just kind of gives them the thumbs up that I'm doing a good job, but I highly recommend them. They were actually one of the first investments that I made into my channel, and it made a huge difference because I've been there as far as all the downloading of non-copyright sound music and things like that, and all the time that gets spent doing that, and to do it correctly so that it doesn't come bite you in the butt is a little bit tedious. So me being there and knowing that that is a route that you can take is why I highly recommend Epidemic Sound. Like, I've been using them and they make everything so much easier. And the whole thing is that while I'm editing a video, I'm listening to Epidemic Sound in the background. And a lot of times the song that I'm going to use for the video ends up hitting me because I'm editing the video, and it's just like, it just hits the right way. And I'm like, this would be perfect for this video. And I'm able to use it comparative to like anything that you'd find on a secular radio station. So with that being said, man, I got into it. As you can tell, I've been using Epidemic Sound 91 consecutive weeks, and we're reaching close. We're inching closer and closer to the 100 mark, and then also to the 104 mark, because 104 episodes means 2 years of weekly live streams consecutive without missing a beat, which is an amazing accomplishment. And I have to thank all of you for making it my go-to destination every week, the Camera Junkie live stream. So I can't thank you guys enough. That's all because John said I love the music. Went in there. It says images by Gretchen. Paul saying it's been so long. It says, was the live stream about tonight? We mentioned that the people of video conference, and Paul is letting you know as well. Richard Sarkeesian, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for stopping by. All right. It says, yes, I'm beginning to get a complex. That's not what popped up. This was supposed to pop up. Yes, because something Paul said, I believe. Sammy's in the house saying hello to everyone. How are you doing? All right, D is also in here saying what's up, Mr. Marine X. All right, everybody's, I love this. That's why, yep, like Mr. Moderator is saying here, please put a Q colon in front of any question that you might have for me, because there's such an amazing community that everybody's always talking, conversing, and saying what's up to each other in the chat. So I highly, highly, recommend that if you want to get a question to me, please put a Q colon, because with the power of Ecamm that I'm using to produce all of this, I can search for those questions and make sure that I don't miss them towards the end of the night. So just gave up to save some money to having gone full-time recently. Gotta tighten things up a little. Yeah, and this is the whole thing. I made a video about Epidemic Sound, and talking about that, I quit Spotify, I quit Apple Music and all the other music platforms or music services that I couldn't use for my channel. And that's tightening things up and making it useful for me, because not only was the Epidemic Sound subscription very valuable, but I also needed to make the most out of the subscription as well, because if I were to continue to listen to the radio and continue to listen to the songs that I can't use in my videos, then what's the point? Because every time I would have to go back into Epidemic and spend as much time as I was downloading the free songs when I was doing that in the no copyright sounds through the YouTube channel that's available. So I knew that I needed to take the time, my audio listening time, and take it away from the secular radio stations and dedicate it to Epidemic Sound, so that I could find that good music and then find artists that I really jive with, and then start following them and wait for their new music to hit the platform that I've invested in, or better said, invested in myself. Says, I use Epidemic Sound on most of my stuff. Love their selection. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Just like you have different radio stations, some people listen to country, some people like rock, some people like metal, other people like Latin, jazz. There's so many different radio stations. I feel that a lot of these service providers, when it comes to the audio, tend to be like, which is your favorite radio station, which is the one that you feel that you can get the most out of, because their sound stripe, there's so many. And talking about that, there's a whole nother one which I haven't put into my description, so Paul, I don't know if you would be able to get it, but it's the Creator Mix from D and Nick Nimmin, the Nimminati brothers. They have a website called Creator Mix, And that's also music that is absolutely free and that you can use. I highly recommend. They actually make the music themselves. D Niman is on Twitch all the time making these songs, and I've been fortunate enough to like once or twice be able to catch him on that Twitch stream and be able to help him in the creative process while he makes these songs. So it's really cool, and I know that there's a couple of songs in the creator mix there that have been influenced by me just, you know, hanging out in those streams. So it's really cool. But once again, another source that you can use, but the same way, whether it's Epidemic, Creator Mix, or anything like that, you have to put in the time to know what it is that you want to get out of it. Ever thought of using Licked? I haven't. I know about the service, but the reason why I haven't is because of what I just mentioned. I actually no longer know what is secular music because I went all in on Epidemic. So I don't know what's popular on the radio right now. So like if I were to go to Licked, I would be like a fish out of water, just like I was when I first started Epidemic Sound, because I don't know what's popular. I don't know what are the popular songs, and none of them, because I haven't been listening, resonate with me. So like me going to Licked is like starting all over again. Oh yes, and I always forget to say this, Mr. Paul, thank you. If you haven't done so already, please do so and go hit that like button. It's highly appreciated. It goes a long way, and it's free. It's just there. It's a little button now, I think, little round thumbs up button, and I would highly appreciate if you were to do that. All right, John has a question before I get into it. Does anyone know if you can publish a playlist on Epidemic Sound for others to see like Spotify does? Yes, John, and my playlist, the one that you're listening to right now, is in the description, so you should be able to find that there, and it gives you this 9-hour 45-minute playlist that you will be able to listen to and utilize however you want. It is my playlist, and that's the one that I've shared. If it's not in this description, I know for a fact that I made my Epidemic Sound video talking about the new phone app and everything like that, and my love for Epidemic Sound, and I know it's in that video. So if you can't find it in this one, which it should be, you'll find it there. Melanie is here saying, yo, I need new music service. Music Bed isn't doing it for me. My last video is still flagged for copyright, even though I pay $20 each month for the licensing. Wow, that sucks, right? But let me give you, look, this was about people of video, and I'm gonna have to clip this out for like my Epidemic Sound information, because this, hey, it's what you guys are, what we got into, right? That sucks about the Music Bed. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information, which I don't know exactly how it all works, but this is my experience with Epidemic Sound. I have my account with MrCameraJunkie. I mentioned that I started a secret YouTube channel, which absolutely bombed. And if you guys are interested, I can get you a little bit more information. I started a secret YouTube channel, which was like totally different. I made it faceless so that I didn't have to be on camera all the time, just trying something like a completely different niche on YouTube, right? And then they changed the system where they said, we're gonna put advertisements on all videos, even if you're in the YouTube partner program or not. And that decision there effectively killed that channel before it even got up and running. So like, there's nothing that you can do. You roll with the punches. I put like a lot of effort into that, made like a lot of time consuming content, and then at the end of the day, it's just, it's like I said, it's dead before it could even get started. So the reason why I mention it is because that secondary channel, I ended up using some sounds from Epidemic, but when I first uploaded my first video to the channel, I hadn't actually activated an account with Epidemic Sound to my secret channel. I had already been using it and downloading that music through my main MrCameraJunkie account. Even though I knew I was creating that, the Epidemic was so ingrained in my workflow that I just wasn't even thinking like, oh man, I totally forgot that I have to activate those so that they are, you know, copyright free or copyright protected. So my first video that I posted on that channel got flagged through Epidemic. It was made aware to my attention that it was flagged, and then I was like, doy, right? How can you do that? Something so stupid, just overlook it. And I then right away created the account for that secret channel on Epidemic. So now, after that fact that it was copyright claimed their music, after the fact, I created the account with Epidemic Sound so that I can use it from there on out. And what ended up happening was that I then did a reversal of the copyright claim to the first video, even though I had published it before I made the account with Epidemic Sound. And because I had an active account, they just greenlit it and they were like, yep, no problem, boom, and they took it off. And that's how easy it was. That was my one and only faux pas or time that I've had to interact with Epidemic Sound since I've been using them, and ever since then I haven't had a problem with them. So that's my experience. Take it for what it is, you know. But that's one of those things that I just say, I think they're just a stand-up company. They give you a good product and the ease of use. Like, the one thing that I wanted from Epidemic Sound was an app that I can use on my phone so that I could actually, you know, go through their content library a little bit easier, especially when most of my music listening time is in the car. So while I'm in the car, I'm able to connect to it, broadcast that music instead of the radio. And that was what, that's my favorite thing about Epidemic Sound. And you see, I just answered that. So never had a problem. And like I said, even when I made the mistake, they were able to hook me up. It says, I'm so over music bed. Look, I'm just going to leave that there. And that's going to be a clip for Epidemic Sound. Just screenshot that. I'm so over music bed. Epidemic Sound. Gretchen is applauding. Hey, how you doing, Albert? Saying hello. Okay, everyone's talking here about the subscription to Epidemic Sound. Sly, I thought about you the other day. I was like, you know, I haven't seen you in a live in such a long time. I'm so happy to see you here. Says finally caught you live. Hi everyone, glad to see you. I'm glad to see you here just as well. Hope you're doing great. I have you know, just to talk about it. Yep, look, in my pocket. I was like, did I leave it somewhere? In my pocket. You might recognize this. So just to let you know, I think about you all the time. So I'm glad that you're here, and you know, always appreciate that you take the time. Says, oh yeah, the year, but I split it into monthly payments somehow. Forgot to lock into the full year. I think I pay monthly, but now here's another thing. If you have under 1,000 subscribers with Epidemic Sound, and by any chance, right? By any chance, you also have TubeBuddy. So my first, and that's one of the things that I mentioned. I go, one of the first investments that I made into my channel was Epidemic Sound. The first investment that I made was TubeBuddy. And if you have TubeBuddy, I believe the pro subscription or higher, and you also have Epidemic Sound with under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you get some special discounts. And the special discounts that you get for TubeBuddy being under 1,000 subscribers for the pro is like, I think like $40 for the year, right? So then you pay $40 for the year on that, and then the Epidemic Sound ended up being like $11 for the month. So it was like you were getting the yearly subscription, but on the month-to-month basis. So I was like, okay. And that's just exactly how I linked it up. And because they somehow recognize each other, and I don't even remember how I did that, but I know that like it applied the discount. Once I passed 1,000 subscribers, it went back to normal, which was $15 a month, and I haven't changed it yet. But maybe when I go to renew my TubeBuddy, I'll see about doing a year subscription with Epidemic Sound as well. Because it's been 2 years running that I've been using them, and just I highly recommend. It says, thanks brother, that's my jam, but oh, that's awesome, man. Podcastage, Tom Buck are my jam for audio. Now I'm down a rabbit hole, dude. Like, Bandrew is super cool. Tom as well is just the bomb. BZ is my boy, and like I love Bandrew for what he does on Podcastage. I really enjoy his podcast, which is the Bandrew Says podcast. It's silly, it's about microphones, but I just can't help myself. Like, I like him and I find him funny, so I will always be listening to his podcast that he drops like weekly every Sunday. And think about that, he's on like episode 300 and I would say like 306 to 308, around there. So 308 episodes of a podcast. That's been quite a few years running. So the Bandrew Says podcast. There's no way to get out of it now. I have to just keep paying it even though I don't want it. I'm guessing you're talking about MusicBed. If you bought the yearly subscription, then I would just see and utilize it as much as you can, you know, make the most of it because it's already paid. Just know that you won't renew it, you know. And if you can afford another service, something that's better, once again, check out Epidemic. And the cool thing about Epidemic is that you could actually listen to their website without having a subscription and see if the music, even if it's something that you like, way before you have an account with them. Oh, Paul is awesome. He got the creator mix in there as well. Thank you, sir. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if I'm messing up over here because to open up Epidemic, I closed my Discord. Okay, we're good to go. No news. All right. Let me see if I get down there. Okay, so we have a question that says, love the creator mix music. We was finally ordered tether USB-C cables to extend my Elgato cam 15 to 20 feet from the main computer for podcasts with mom. Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. What? Says, I use Epidemic Sound for Marine X Afterthoughts. They link it up and I haven't had any issues with YouTube in almost a year and a half. Yeah, they are really good when it comes to their system. Oh, thank you as well for the Epidemic playlist. This is awesome. You guys are great. Signed up for Creator Mix. That's awesome, man. Just let them know that I sent you. Oh my God, that sucks. Like the fact that you've actually been in contact with them. And that's just the other thing. Like when I did the claim to like try to clear up that video, I did it through YouTube. I never actually even had to contact Epidemic. It was like Epidemic saw the video and like copyright claim. Oh, you have an active account? Green, go. I've been watching a do YouTube for a while and have never heard of MusicBed. They probably don't have the juice. I've heard of MusicBed. I've had to use them as an editor as well for different things. So if my client at the time doesn't use Epidemic, but they're using MusicBed, it's a little bit harder for me, but I'm still asking them for what music they want me to put in their videos so that I can make it to their liking. And also when they go to upload their intellectual property, that it's not gonna, clash because I used an Epidemic sound effect, because that's what I have, even though they don't have an Epidemic sound account. What's up, Caleb? How are you doing, sir? All right. Says if you have TubeBuddy subscription, you can get Epidemic Sound for 25% off. He's saying. Oh, you see, so that's exactly what it was. Okay, Melanie, make sure that the annual renewal is turned off. Yeah, on the account. That's the only thing. Yeah, those they get you, man. But I think I reached the bottom of the comments. That was like 30 minutes of like meet and greet, and I haven't even talked about People of Video. What is People of Video? Well, People of Video is a yearly conference held out of Albany, New York, hosted by Dan Courier, and he's a creator who basically got a little fed up with the fact that all of like the creator meetups and everything were on the West Coast. So VidCon, Vid Summit, Vid whatever that they were making, it was always on the West Coast. And he's like, you know what? I also don't want to go to the West Coast. Kind of don't want to go to Orlando in Florida. Is like, and there's a lot of creators within New York and this area, so let's just do it. And he made his own conference, and it was a smashing success. He had been trying to get it going before the lockdowns happened. That made it a virtual event for the first year. And then last year was the first in-person event, and it was held in October. I was lucky enough to be able to make it. I had a bit of a trip, a journey, because circumstances just allowed me to rent a vehicle and drive up to New York to be part of People of Video 2021. Why do I mention it? Because I'm gonna be doing it all over again. So it's gonna be road trip People of Video 2022, because Aiden and I, are always together, inseparable in that aspect. One thing that I haven't had the luxury to do is actually take a plane, to see how Aiden would actually act on an airplane, knowing that he's sensitive to, frequencies and sounds. Because of it, I know how he acts in a vehicle, and if anything were to go wrong, I can pull over a vehicle very easily and handle the situation with Aiden, comparative to like thinking that for whatever reason, God forbid that I would have to like prematurely land the plane for a medical emergency, worst case scenario. So because of it, I am once again going to be doing the road trip to Albany, New York from Miami. But this year I'm doing it a little bit more planned out. We're talking about over 24 hours of actual travel time driving on the road. Last year, because I wanted to make the event before the event was finished and the time that I actually hit the road, I was just racing against time itself. And I did miss the first night of like get-togethers, but it was still 1,000% worth it, because People of Video was a game-changing event for me personally. It was, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So yes, I plan for this 24-hour road trip to be broken out into 4 days this time, so that I have enough time within each day to actually enjoy the journey. Because last time it was, like I said, just a race against the clock. So it was really hard for me to like, I guess, slow down and smell the roses. And I was traveling through the state of Florida, Georgia. I went through a lot of states, but because I was so destined to get to the location that I really actually didn't have the time to actually like enjoy each state that I was passing by. I didn't have enough time to make time to, you know, enjoy the sights or try to find something out, which is where I'm making it different this time. I'm taking a much slower approach, and I'm planning to take more time, taking it a little bit more leisurely, so that I can enjoy all of those aspects of all of the states that I'm going to be passing through. It's not the biggest road trip, but I'm lucky enough that I'm a person that enjoys them. Like, I enjoy driving a vehicle to a destination and seeing all the sights and the way that this country has been put together while I'm like on my destination, like on the way to the destination. So road trips are things that I do like, and there's a lot more opportunities for photography, for video, for restaurants, you know, interactions, so many different things that you can't do on a simple plane flight. Now, one of those things is actually getting to the location and having those same types of experiences with the people that you're going to camaraderie with at the event. But like I said, last year I wasn't able to take that time, and that's where I'm going to make the difference this time. I'm going to take a lot more photos, more video, and document my experience and my journey on my way to people of video. So that's what I'm planning on. I'm also planning on live streaming on the road. So that's a whole nother project. Because of the power of Ecamm, I was able to do something similar last year. So in the same tradition, I'm going to do it this year, which is last year I was live streaming every stop that I was taking with Aiden. I would just, you know, like kind of refresh and then connect back to the community and the LGL on Facebook. And I was doing like live streams directly to the community there. And then I was still able last year to do the live stream, or the CAMERAJUNKIE live stream, on Saturday night from the hotel, from the bathroom, which Doc Rock has been mentioning quite a lot lately, you know. And you know, the reasons why I chose to do it out of that like half bathroom in the hotel is because you can get good isolated audio there, and the best lighting is found in the bathrooms. So when it comes to video, lighting is key. So with lighting being key, it really helps out when you can get the best. So instead of trying to create a studio within the room, I chose the room that was the closest resembled to the studio, and I put my laptop, I propped up my camera, and then just went live. So I'm planning on doing things similar to that this year, whether it be at the stops at the hotels, and you know, and the same way, if I'm going to be up there for a while, so I'm going to be probably doing, and this is, you know, foreshadowing so to speak, I'm probably going to be doing 4 CAMERAJUNKIE live streams on the road this year. So I'm going to become very proficient on mobile live streaming. This is because I'm going to take the time to drive up to People of Video. Once I get to People of Video, we're going to do that event. I need to stay within that like tri-state area, so to speak, because I will not have enough time to come back down to Miami and actually go back up for when I'm needed again, which is just about a week after People of Video. One of the things is going to be Leap into Podcasting, which is a completely hosted by Ecamm, which is a virtual event. But because I am going to be within that area, I know that I'm probably going to be within the Ecamm offices helping out in any way, shape, or form that I can while I'm up there, because we're going to be doing that while we wait for a photo video op that we're putting together also with Ecamm. That's going to be at the beginning of October. So that gap of the end of People of Video to like the 5th of October, there's no reason for me to actually come back down, waste time driving, and risk myself as well to then drive right back up. So at that point, we're making accommodations for me to spend that entire time up there in that area, and it's just gonna be like amazing. So I'm gonna get to see like the studio that Doc built at the, you know, at the Ecamm Live headquarters, so to speak. There's gonna be, it's just gonna be amazing. I'm super excited for this opportunity, and like I said, once the leap into podcasting, we're gonna be doing that photo video op in October, and once that's done, and I believe that wraps up on the 5th, is when I'm gonna start driving back down to Miami. So from the 13th, which I believe is where I've set, that should be Wednesday or something, that's when I'm gonna leave, and I think that's when I'm gonna hit the road and start driving up to New York, so that I have those 4 days of being able to drive up there without having to rush myself, or Aiden being able to take, you know, like take a load off, so to speak, and take it easy, even though it's a road trip, but mostly enjoy the journey instead of just trying to like hammer through all the hours that are necessary to make that destination. So I'm really excited about it, and I bring this all up is because last year this wouldn't even have been a possibility, and it all is because of the same event that I'm talking about tonight. So the People of Video 2022, if you have the ability, maybe even more than Epidemic Sound, I would highly recommend you doing everything that you can to meet up at these events, because we're all here in communication virtually through live streams, through Zoom meetings, through a lot of different mediums. But meeting in person, man, it is totally different. And that, I can only give you the example of my own experience, which is I was able to meet Doc Rock, Diana Gladney, and very importantly, Katie Fox from Ecamm. And because I was able to just be myself and just get to know people on a personal level, they were also able to do that with me. And I know for a fact that that event and me being able to meet Katie in person was the stepping stone that allowed me to get the opportunity to kind of like bid for their work or apply to be the Ecamm editor. And from October, in that experience, it took all the way to January 1st for me to actually become the Ecamm editor, but it wouldn't have happened. I know for a fact it wouldn't have happened, and I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now working with Ecamm if it wasn't for the efforts that I put in to make it to that event last year. So it is. I'll see you later, Gretchen. I see that you're saying that you got to run, but thanks for stopping by. So I bring that up because I know for a fact that that was like the stepping stone to me being where I'm at now, because now I am the Ecamm editor. I'm also their podcast editor, a photographer, videographer that's going to be in this photo op at the beginning of October. And it's all being helped out through this amazing community and Ecamm themselves, that they've recognized the value that I also bring, and that they're like, we need you here. So, you know, accommodations and so many things that they're actually helping out to sponsor the event. They're also helping out to basically sponsor your boy here as well, to make sure that I am there and being able to do all of these things along with Aiden by my side. So Ecamm, if you haven't heard of them, which I doubt because I talk about them weekly, I also think that not on top of an amazing program, they're an amazing company. They're an amazing set of individuals that have come together to make such an amazing product and an amazing community. And I am forever grateful for that and for these opportunities that I'm getting. I'm recognizing to enjoy the journey, right? To know that these are things that last year I would have never thought I would be taking a month-long road trip. And not only that, but to be thinking that I can take a month-long road trip and know that the things back at home aren't gonna fall apart. That what I leave here is established enough, and that I can, speaking, truthfully speaking on the real, like that I'm not gonna be gone for a month and then figuring out how I'm gonna pay rent for my following month, so on and so forth. Like that it's not gonna put me in a financial hole for me to do this. And that is why, like I said, I will be forever grateful for the opportunity and the experiences that I'm being able to take. So that's my experience. And if any of this inspires you, I would tell you, man, try to see what you can do. Try to see what's the effort that you can do to try to make an event like this. And if not this one, something like it, podcast movement was just held in Dallas, and everyone that attended that event is talking about it the same way, because the experience of you sharing your passion with like-minded individuals who not only are looking to better themselves, but actually genuinely want to see you become the best version of you, it's something that really hard to put into words. So with that, I would say try your best to create these memories, to make the event so that you can create these memories, to create these friendships that go far beyond communications, go far beyond emails, and make something real. So that's where I will leave it as far as People of Video 2022. Speaking specifically about this event, it's a much smaller event compared to other like venues, Vid Summit or VidCon or whatever it is. That is what makes it a little bit different, because not only do you get to speak and converse with like-minded individuals, but the speakers, the headliners, the ones that are providing the content that you will be learning from, that are crushing it in their respective fields, like Judy Fox, who just crushes it on LinkedIn, and then Dale Roberts, who's a self-publisher, Diana Gladney, who if you haven't heard before, which I doubt, Miss D, she's also like simplifying video. She's the simplifying video creator. And then you're gonna get all of these people giving you their best nuggets from their own experiences of this past year, which is most recent, and beyond that, all of their experiences. And like I said, you get to meet people that you never thought that, one person that I never thought that I was gonna meet and I have a selfie with is actually someone that I'm gonna bring up right now because of Cities Gaw, channels that I think you should go and watch over here. Cities Gaw. Okay, so today's Cities Gaw, let me bring it up. That should be over here. Okay, and now we're gonna go back to this, and boom, there we go. Roberto Blake. If you haven't heard of this man, I've mentioned him here on the live stream as well. When I was talking about Ikigai, that I had heard about it before, Doc Rock mentioned it. The first time that I had ever heard of Ikigai was on one of Roberto's videos, and I've been following Roberto since before MrCameraJunkie. So when I first came onto YouTube, I came on as Mr. Fix-It, because that had to do with my cell phone repair business. And even though I was thriving on all the other social media platforms, when it came to YouTube, my content bombed. in the bad way, right? So it was not good. And because YouTube is like skip the ads, right? And you even pay YouTube Premium to not see the ads. Well, the content that I was creating for the social media, the other social media platforms, were actually very small snippets that were very commercial like, selling my services for the phone repair. And when that didn't work on YouTube, I wanted to know why and started researching. And that's when kind of fell in love with YouTube, right? Like the hard ones, the ones that give you the biggest pain in the butt, right? But I started recognizing the potential of YouTube, and that's when I found Nick Nimmin, and through that found Roberto Blake. So if you haven't heard of Mr. Roberto Blake and you're thinking about doing YouTube, I highly recommend you check out his channel. On top of this, he has a variety of different channels talking about music and bringing that full circle, right? Full circle. He also has another channel that's called, oh, I'm running a brain fart right now. Let me just search my YouTube, right? Because there's no reason to not do it. Oh, I'm not open on my YouTube subscription account. Okay. I'm going to get the name in a little bit, but I'm going to worry about that secondary. Once again, he's got a music channel, which he just started, which is like a faceless channel. He has another one, which he does his podcast, which I believe is called Roberto Blake's Podcast. So all of these can be found if you were to just search Roberto Blake on YouTube. An amazing content creator. On top of that, he's very genuine when it comes to being forthright with his information. He'll show you his receipts. Like, he's one of the only ones that not only talks about what he's producing and making on this platform, but he will actually demonstrate it to you, so that you know that he's not talking out of his rear end. So if you haven't heard of him already, definitely check out Roberto Blake. He's also a speaker that you would find on many events, including People of Video. And as you can see, we have 22 days, 13 hours, 8 minutes, and 5 seconds left till People of Video. And this right here is basically what it looks like. As you can see, it's a small conference, even though this year is going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger. And, but this is kind of like the ballroom, as you get to hear the speakers. As you can see, it's very intimate. But this is People of Video. And if we go over here to where it says speakers, you'll see some of the speakers that are going to be there. One of them being Mr. Roberto Blake. And that's when I met him last year. An amazing creator, someone that I had followed from before. And now, like, to be able to know that I met him in a real life situation, I was able to give him my thanks for everything that he's done on this platform. And just something that simple, I am now like a moderator myself on one of his channels, which is just like mind-blowing to me, because that's how like well he knows me, Luis, and MrCameraJunkie as the entity as well is just amazing. I stay in shock because all of this has been attained, right? And all of these relationships have been created, all of these friendships have been fostered within a span of 2 years. Within a span of 2 years, there has been so much that has changed. And that's why I bring it back, that if it wasn't me making the effort to make it to People of Video last year, I can't guarantee that all of these changes would have come to fruition. But I digress, because I did do that. I made the effort, and now I'm reaping the benefits of it. And that's one thing that I mentioned at the beginning of this year, and I still stay amazed and humbled, extremely grateful, and just excited to see what is going to be the next thing that I'm going to be like flabbergasted by? What's going to be the next thing that I'm going to be like, I never thought that would have happened a year ago? And these things continuously happen because I am not here looking for a destination. I am here absolutely enjoying the journey. And that's what I'm doing. I'm enjoying the journey and trying to make sure that as I continue to grow on the platform, that I take the time to slow down and smell the roses. Right? Sometimes that's exactly what we have to do. Just slow down and smell the roses. Yep. So yes, people of video, we have Tim Schroyer, we have just blanked on her name. Amy, but I don't want to butcher her last name. She's the lawyer lady. She does all the like great information. Emily D. Baker. It works sometimes. Doc Rock, Diana Gladney, this is Dale Roberts, this is Owen Video, this is Judy Fox. As you can see, we have Jim Fuse. We're gonna have quite a cast. Oh, we got whistles. We got Keely Dunn over here, Canadian whistle lady, doing up the Discord. And yes, if you haven't checked her out, if you haven't checked out Discord at all, I do have a Discord, which it's under construction. I'm building it out as I do many things, but I'm really excited about that as well because it gives you a much more direct connection to me comparative to other platforms or other social media. This is 100 times more within my control. So if you send me a message there, I can respond to it and a lot faster. You know, comments on YouTube, sometimes they get filtered and I never see them at all. I try to respond to, I respond to all the comments that I actually do see. So that's about all I can do, right? But when it comes to Discord, it's amazing. And she was a very big advocate on letting me know the potential and the awesomeness of Discord. So these are just some of the speakers. These are the ones that are for certain. I believe there could be a couple of more like add-ons getting closer to the event, you know, people that are still trying to figure out their schedules. But with this alone, this is just a blockbuster type of lineup here that you will learn so much. And the fact that you'll be able to take your time and break bread with these people, you know, like let's go out to lunch and get to know them on a personal level on top of the content that they create is just amazing. The relationship that I have with Doc Rock because of the time that I spent, the relationship that I have with Diana Gladney because of the time spent, with Gigi and Ivy Rose, that's her dog. You know what I'm saying? Like Ivy Rose hung out with us that entire People of Video conference. So it's something that is just the memories that you make that you will never forget, and the friendships that you will foster that just will stand the test of time. I guarantee that. What's up, Scott? You got here a little late. Hopefully you brought some cookies. But that is People of Video, and Roberto Blake is this week's Cities Gaw. Channels that I think, oh, that is such horrible contrast. Let's just go back to the main shot. There we go. Cities Gaw. Channels that I think you should go and watch. Boop. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and recheck the chat here. See where we left off. All right, thank you. Yes, and if you do want to support me, MrCameraJunkie, talking about that, we have this we can throw up there, right? Are these working? Well, that's to be right back. Oh, that's a different setup. I did this whole setup and I'm thinking that the buttons were fixed, and it was like last week's stream and those were fixed for the beta Ecamm, and this is regular Ecamm, so that button is not there. Okay, but I digress. Paul, thank you for throwing it in there. That is my Buy Me a Coffee link. So there you go. I highly appreciate it. You don't have to, but as I've learned, you got to give people the way to give gift to you so that they can be blessed themselves. So all right. It says got to do some script writing. Okay, that's when Architectural Sheet Metal said that he was heading out. Gretchen said road trips are the best, aren't they? Like I grew up with, like, going to like a camp on the summer for like a weekend and stuff like that, and the road trips to like Central Florida and different things like that. Those were always fun. That was the fun of like the camp, was literally the time spent on the bus hanging out like forcefully with your friends, right? It's just road trips are the best. The bathroom Q-tips from MrCameraJunkie. Nice audio, nice lighting. Wow, thank you. Q-tips from the bathroom. That's pretty funny, Albert. But yes, that tip, like the bathroom always is gonna have the best lighting because it's what people use to put on their makeups and things like that. Hotels understand this, so they also know like to overbright the bathrooms. If you've ever been on TikTok, it's quite a fad to see people bust out into their bathroom while they're recording themselves on the phone and they're talking to the phone as a video to themselves. The reason why they're in the bathroom is because it's the best lighting. Pretty good sound as well, could be a little reverberary, but if you with the phones the way that they're designed, you're gonna get good audio as well because it's like an isolated box, so it says RSVP leap into podcasting. And yes, if you haven't, like it says there, it's free. Like the leap into live stream, I believe there was a cost for the services. Somehow Ecamm is doing this entire virtual event absolutely free. Leap into podcasting, which if you haven't heard, Ecamm, even though it's great for all of your production, it's probably one of the best things that you can do if you're deciding to do a podcast. And this is something that there's certain things in the works, but this is something that I definitely see myself doing in the future. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a joint podcast with someone else as far as a conversation, or if I'm going to do it completely solo. Either way, something's going to be coming out. Hint, hint. It might be called the Vodcast Podcast, because I want to talk about video podcasting, right? So the Vodcast Podcast. Let me know what you think of that, like little term or that little phrase. Okay, so Gretchen was leaving. Paul was saying bye to Gretchen. Okay, what's the difference between the regular tickets and the VIP ticket? That's a good question. I would do the same, but if you haven't done so, I will try to see the same, because that is a good question. The difference between the VIP, because I don't think that there is any difference, like noticeably, that you can see just off the website. But I was just trying to see if I remember what was the difference last year. Oh, actually, I do think there is a difference. There is a creator meetup the day before the event, which is hosted by Dan. So I believe the VIP gets you into the admission to that pre-event the day before. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, if my mind serves me right, that was like the VIP add-on to those tickets. Paul says, I agree. My life really changed with POV last year. It was a game changer. Thank you for throwing up my Discord, Paul. And Scott coming in late saying hello, crew members. It says, I did an ice cream too. We need to get the donuts, man. And you see, these are little things that I talk about and that I mention, but throughout my live streams, I forget to like mention, like, you know, like, what is this? Like the Aiden cam, Aiden hanging out there, playing around. He's got a mess going, you know. And also, you know, like, I don't know, something to do with the Krispy Kremes, man. Like, and donuts. If you saw my latest video, you know I'm talking about the Krispy Kremes, crispy audio, and crispy bacon. And I've mentioned here before, like I did in a video, there's a place here in South Florida called Mojo Donuts. And they put crispy bacon on donuts. And it's delicious. It is so good. It's not fair. It's not fair. And the reason why I don't talk about them is so that I don't remind myself that they exist. So that I'm not in there. And like, they go in there and I'm like, let me get 2 donuts. And they're like, 2? Sure, half dozen is like just a little bit more or something like that. I'm like, 2 donuts. 2. And they're like, sure you don't want 6 or 12? I'm like, listen, if I get 6 or 12, I'm eating 6 or 12. I'm getting 2. I shouldn't even be eating 1, but I'm getting 2. So 2 to go. That's the truth. And that's it. You know, gotta do what you gotta do, man. That's why I try not to go to Krispy Kreme, because I get a dozen of fresh baked Krispy Kreminess, and I'm gonna go to town, and I'm gonna be eating those, and the ones that I do not finish the first night will be left in the fridge and be reheated in the oven until they're all gone, which is not good for, you know, the overall health. Okay, Michael H is here saying, going to POV for the first time, looking forward to it. Well, I'll be looking forward in meeting you along with so many other people. It was super cool, man. Super cool. Well, with that being said, guys, we are just past the hour. We've done it all. We've done another successful live stream. As we level up, episode 91 in the books. And as always, I gotta thank you all for taking the time and spending it here with me, your most precious commodity, your time, and hanging out in the Camera Junkie live stream. My favorite place to be every Saturday night. And if you haven't, please make sure you mark it down on your calendar. Every Saturday night, 11 p.m. We don't go clubbing. We go to Club Camera Junkie. We come here and hang out and take that time to level up our skills, right? To upgrade our skills. Yep. And Mr. Duncan, thank you for reminding me. If you haven't done so already and you just got here, just make sure you just hit that like button right in its face. It goes a long way and it's highly appreciated. But yeah, we're going to be doing this all over next week. This is episode number 91, 92 is coming up next week. And they just like sneak up on you so fast. So we're itching our way closer and closer to episode 100 and then 104. And I'm so excited. Just so excited. This is the best part of my week. You hear me mention it all the time. And I can't wait to do it all over again. So everyone, all the crew members, enjoy your week. Make the most of your every day. And I will see you in the next one.